What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and I'm asking the question, will the Nintendo Switch 2 succeed the way the original did? And we're just going to discuss the launch of the Switch 1 and see where the Switch 2 has to follow up in many ways and or do better. I believe the Switch launched on March 3rd, or 19, let's say 19, 2017. I was actually away on vacation, and my good buddy Robert of Gaming with Me, uh, when the pre-orders went live, I think it was in January, right after the January event, and my friend Robert of Gaming with Me, I gave him access to my Amazon, I think it was Amazon account, and he pre-ordered it for me while I was away on a vacation. So here comes March 3rd. I believe it's March 3rd or March 4th, one of the two. March 3rd, and I got my Switch. I think mine was right on time, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a day late, I'm not sure. But I want to talk about the launch games I got. There wasn't a lot of launch titles, but I think the Switch launch was pretty smart. Obviously, this is the the most important launch title for the Switch. That is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And here is the console itself. I think, this is my original. Yeah, it's my original box. Because I'm mixing up my kids as far as which ones they had. They got the gray one, and I bought color Joy-Cons later for them. But this is my original box for Nintendo Switch, and this was obviously the game of the Switch in the beginning. This was obviously a Wii U port. We actually had to wait a year for Breath of the Wild on Wii U because Nintendo didn't want to launch them separately, which I get. But they also took out the cool features of the Wii U gamepad, which I didn't. Well, I guess I got, but I didn't like it at all. So that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. But along with that game, like I said, there were some smart releases, I think. Snipper Clips being one of them. There's no physical release for that game, but it was a cool game that allowed you to see kind of the multiplayer aspects of the Switch, where you can just use a Joy-Con for yourself and one for a companion, and you can do multiplayer co-op games together, or obviously versus competitive multiplayer. And it worked really well with that. Also, they had 1-2 Switch, which they heavily promoted, which I never bought because it looked like trash to me, so I didn't really care for it. But I did get physically, obviously, Breath of the Wild. I also got this game, I think only released by GameStop. I don't know if they still do game releases, but this is Has Been Heroes. I barely played this game. I really only bought it because it was a GameStop only release, and I thought maybe it might end up being rare at some point. It's not. And it was really cheap also. It was $20. So that was also a reason I bought it. I was like, oh, that's cheap to get my Nintendo Switch collection going, physical collection. I also bought, I think, what was that Snake Pass game? I think that was a launch game. And that was a lot of fun. That was digital only. I also got a game that I cannot find. Well, the case I can't find. I have the cart, but I can't find the case. Super Bomberman R, which I thought was a nice, cool, kind of nostalgic throwback game to get core Nintendo fans excited. I thought that was a smart pick. And this game, Super Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers. This was only on Xbox Live Arcade at the time. I think this is still only physical here, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that, but I think this is the only physical way to get it. And the Switch version has a separate mode, a first-person kind of shooter mode called the Way of the Hado. I think that's Way of the Hado. And let's see if you can see it here. My camera's not going to adjust maybe, but you can kind of see. I'll show it in a clip or something, where you're walking around as Ken or as Ryu, and you're just fighting enemies using the Hadouken. And yeah, so the only reason I bought this, it was overpriced, but I bought it because this is the only way to get this game physically. This version, because this is a remake version, which you can play the original, but it also had remade graphics in it and the way of the hot dog. And I thought, oh, this is probably going to be rare, so I bought it. But yeah, that was mostly the launch titles. It seemed a bit sparse, but because, again, where is it? Oh, because of Breath of the Wild, it was amazing to see a game of this size and scope on a handheld console. So I don't have my original Switch with me, but this will be a representation of it. Actually, a friend of mine gave this. Well, he didn't give it to me. I said that I might be able to fix it for him. It was having that issue. This is one of the original Switches, and it was having that issue where if you use like third-party chargers and whatnot, or third-party docks, it basically would brick your charging ability. And I kind of knew how to fix that, but I never really got around to it. So I told him, "Hey, come get it." And I've texted him multiple times, and he's never responded. So it's here. But yeah, this one obviously has like the Splatoon color Joy Cons on it. But this is a day one Switch, and I think this one is hacked. He was telling me like he can download anything he wants on this. So I've never seen it. I saw it for maybe a couple minutes before the battery died, and so he can't really access it. I can figure it out how to fix it at some point. I guess I'll do that now that I'm not on the clock. But yeah, this one's hacked. Somebody hacked this for him, and he started having that issue where it wouldn't charge anymore. And I think it's because it's one of the original versions of the Switch, which didn't allow you to do any third-party docks or charging cables or anything like that. So he was having issues with it. But yeah, that's the original version. This is my current Switch. This is the OLED, and I got my own. I think they're called Nixie Joy Cons, because I can't. Like, this feels like I'm holding a real controller, whereas the Joy Cons never felt that comfortable for me. Like, this is too tiny, and the joysticks are too small. This is not a viable way for me to play, which is weird because in the beginning I guess I was fine with it because I would take my Joy Cons off and put them into a grip, and I didn't have a Pro Controller right away, but well, within a month or two, I got a Pro Controller, and I still played entirely through Breath of the Wild like this, split Joy-Con, so I thought that was a cool way to play it. For the most part, unless I was docked, or not docked, unless I had, handheld mode. But I didn't play like this very often, very long, because this is not comfortable for me. I don't know if I'm even showing you here. I need, bigger Joy-Cons, so it feels way more comfortable. This feels way better to hold for me. So yeah, let me put these here. But yeah, so the software is basically what sold the Switch early on. Yes, the cool gimmick of playing on the go was a big thing as well. But Nintendo had to sell consoles, and so they had to put out software of their own. And I think that 2017 was an amazing year for the Switch, and it really, really jump-started it, and it's the reason why it's such a success today. I think the foundation of it was great. So beyond Breath of the Wild, obviously, which sold the Switch pretty well, there were other games that came out. This is one of the first ports we got, and this is currently still the highest selling Switch game at, I don't know, 64 million or something insane, because Nintendo's pretty much making pure profit off of this game at this point. But the cool thing about this one is that they did give us a proper battle mode, online battle mode, which is great. If you know the original Wii U version, battle mode was pretty lame. You just played on regular tracks, which was just kind of weird. But this actually added full-on new tracks for battling online. Obviously, it also has the competitive racing online multiplayer. But it also added, gave you, I think they gave you additional item to carry, and there's some new characters, new faces. It says it right. Oh, these are some of this stuff is a DLC though, so I can't go by this. But the Boo, I think Boo was new. The Feather, and you can hold two items at once instead of just the one from the original version. So, and it gave you all the DLC, which was a lot of DLC characters, and at that point, there's a lot of DLC characters, and there was a lot of DLC tracks as well, which was pretty cool. I mean, you got Link, and him on a motorcycle. You got Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and you got Splatoon. What do they call it? Squid Girl from Splatoon. So that was all very cool, and obviously, the original tracks were great, but the multiplayer stuff was cool. I mean, the for me, what made me buy this, because I said I'm not buying any Wii U ports, and I pretty much stuck to that. But this added, like I said, more items you can carry. It added new characters, and it also added the battle mode, which was the biggest part of me playing this game. So this version of the game. So yeah, that was very cool, and that was a good start because Mario Kart obviously is a good game to sell consoles. It is a console seller. But then later on in the summer, I think that was April when Mario Kart came out. Later in the summer, we got like back-to-back bangers. We got Arms, all Forgotten Arms. Fantastic game, quality, and the multiplayer was amazing. The way it was set up, the lobby system, whatnot, great in this game. And Nintendo would just do stuff and then they completely forget when they do subsequent video games. Like the Mario sports titles were trash as far as the multiplayer goes, in my opinion. But Arms is fantastic. Cool characters, cool new. Why did they give up on this? I mean, it did sell 2 million copies. It wasn't like it was a slouch. And maybe they just didn't know what else to do with it. Nintendo was like that. Sometimes they're like, well, how do we how do we build on that game? And they couldn't figure out anything to build on this, and they just kind of left it. But really cool characters, really cool world. I wish they would have expanded on it somehow. But that was great. And then obviously the sequel to one of the best games on Wii U, Splatoon 2. I didn't know how I'd be able to adjust without the gamepad, being able to jump to my companions in battle. Just by tapping the screen. But what they gave us was good enough. It was not great, but it was good enough. Gyro aiming is fantastic. This was a great sequel to an already great game. I still prefer using the gamepad, but this is a fantastic game. And, the fact that they came out with it, within months of just a couple of months, or 3 or 4 months of not even 3 or 4, 3 months of the launch of the system. Fantastic. And there were other games that came along. This one was a surprise for everybody, although it kind of got leaked ahead of time. Mario plus Rabbids. And we're going to talk about some third party here that really helped push the Switch. Kingdom Battle is fantastic. I love this game. I never thought, because I never was a fan of the Rabbids, but this game is great. This is a great game. Great series. The sequel is also great. Although I like the first one better. I like the battle system better in this one. But it's fantastic. It's like I forget the game it mimics, but it's kind of turn-based strategy, but with some real-time aspects to it. Fantastic game. Charming as heck. Get them. Get both of them if you don't have them yet. And these were I think the biggest games that came out that let people know that, hey, this is not a Wii U situation here. This is a different system on Nintendo. And it was basically the Bethesda partnership, as you would maybe call it. Because when these games were announced for the Switch, it was pretty much a wrap at that point. It was like, all right, this is a serious console that's here to compete. It can't fully compete as far as all the games from the other systems, but it's coming to compete. And that was this game here, Skyrim. This is the remastered version of Skyrim that everybody got. So it came out at the same time, basically, and it's fantastic. This is the version I played on the most. I'm over 150 hours probably on this game, and it's great. And it also, if you use Amiibo, you can unlock like a Link tunic, the blue tunic skin, and the Master Sword, that's awesome. Do stuff like that, and you really get Nintendo fans excited. That got me excited. This was a huge surprise. Doom. This is Doom 2016 port. Obviously, it doesn't look nearly as good as the other version, but it is super competent. They scaled it pretty well, and it's fun. It's super fun to play. I played through the entire game. This is the only way I played through the entire game of Doom. I've dabbled a little bit in Doom VFR, the VR version. I played it on my Steam Deck, the original one, but this is the one I played. This is the version I played all the way through, and played a lot of fun multiplayer with the fellas too. In this version, had a lot of fun. This is cool because the entire game is on the disc or on the cart, and the multiplayer is what you have to download, which makes total sense. And if there are any games that come out in the future, that's what you should do instead of giving us, having to download most of the game or whatever. That's a cool way to do it. This game did not do that, but it was very cool that we also got this. This is Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus. Fantastic game, by the way. These are the guys who are making Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The guys who made this, Machine Games, right? That's Machine Games that did this. This was ported by Panic Button. Yeah, it says right there, Machine Games. They're very good at story. They're very good at gameplay. So that's why I'm not really worried about, Indiana Jones in that aspect, even though they haven't showed a bunch gameplay because of this game. I really love this game. Also beat this all the way through on the Switch. I have it in other versions. I have the Xbox version, but this is the way I played it all the way through. And yeah, that ugly label, I'm glad they did something with it. Let me see if I can get closer. That's the label that tells you you're going to have to download the game. And that kind of sucks. But, Switch, they're doing what they could do. The carts just couldn't hold everything. You can only compress so much. And I think that those are the games that really pushed the Switch beyond just core Nintendo fans or somewhat casual fans. It really got it into the mainstream. It's like, hey, this is going to be a viable system that you can take around with you everywhere. You can take your console games with you on the go. Fantastic, right? And these are the games that drove it home at the end. Super Mario Odyssey. This is really close to being my favorite 3D Mario game of all time. Right there with Super Mario 64. This game is fantastic. The production value, the story is cool, the hat mechanic, the cappy mechanic, fantastic. The graphics are great, 60 frames. Huge, beautiful world, cool, controls, just fantastic game. And there's a couple of sequences in the game that got me teary-eyed. New Donk City was one of them, and the final, not the battle, but the end sequence of this game is fantastic. And also, I'm not spoiling at this point. There's some Super Mario 64 stuff in here as well that just got me super giddy, got me really happy. I love this game so much. This is one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, not just Mario games, and it's great. And this is the game that drove it home. The marketing for this game was phenomenal. That street dancing thing they did in New York was fantastic. What's the song? One Up Superstar, whatever the song's called. Just catchy as heck. Fantastic. And then this game, we weren't sure if we were going to get it at the end of the year. We were sure they're going to push it back because there was so much greatness, but that's how great 2017 was for the Switch. Not this game, because I can't. Again, this is one of the other cases I can't find. I couldn't find Super Bomberman R. I couldn't find the case for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This is Torna, but this is representing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for me. So this was an amazing, huge, epic RPG at the end of the year for us to really dive into going into 2018, which was a weaker year, and I'll talk about that as well. But just all around fantastic. And can the Switch 2 duplicate that? I think it doesn't really have to as much because the Switch was such a success. It still is. That the transition will be a lot easier than it was from Wii U to Switch. So the market share, mind share of the Switch will also help it. They'll have to do something cool, I think, and interesting to make it, really drive it home. But I think you got to have a great launch title. I would love to see Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever the next Mario game is. I mean, it's been 7 years since Mario Odyssey, and we haven't had a 3D Mario since. Well, obviously, we got Super Mario Wonder 2D game, but it would be nice that we got this big 3D Mario game for the launch of the new system. It's going to sell, and it's going to continue to sell. It's an evergreen title, so they don't have to worry about install base and not selling enough copies, because that game is going to sell copies. And obviously Mario Kart would also do well to be either a launch title or near the launch, the way the port of Mario Kart 8 was. I mean, because we're on 10 years now without a new Mario Kart game, so there's got to be one in the works, even with all the amazing DLC we got for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But yeah, we need that kind of stuff to help drive the new system. And so I just wanted to kind of show, because there's other things that help to push it along. I didn't bring my case of it down. I should have, to help make the Switch a success beyond its already early success. Stuff like this, I think, got people excited because it was something different. And this is Mario Kart Home Circuit. And this is basically you build a a real Mario Kart map, or not map, but track in your house, and you drive, remotely your Mario Kart around, and it's like an AR thing, and it's really cool. And I got both of them. I got Luigi as well. The Switch Lite, which I thought would be a bigger success, not as big a success, but still helped to sell at a lower cost, at least, to households who maybe wanted to save $100 on a Switch, and for their kids who weren't going to be using a TV. So they also served their purpose, even though they weren't as successful as I maybe thought. But I mean, the Switch is already portable, so it's understandable that somebody's like, well, I could still already have a portable Switch and still dock it on my TV if I want. So it wasn't a huge boon, but it was still a pretty significant one. And then obviously the OLED here. This is an OLED that I haven't opened. I opened it to look at it. It's not sealed or anything, but I don't think they really seal these anyway. Where is the... I don't even know how to open it. It seems like it would be here, but... Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's the OLED model, which did phenomenally well. I didn't think it would be sell that great, but it sold great, and those are the nice golden Joy-Cons for Tears of the Kingdom there. And this is just a collector's piece. I'm just gonna hold on to this. I'll never start it up, never turn it on. Maybe flip it someday. I don't know, or not. Just keep it as a collector's piece. Also, Ring Fit Adventure. These are the things that brought back the kind of casual feel to it. Ring Fit Adventure, and just like I said, 1-2 switch, and showing that the Joy-Cons had cool use with the HD rumble, and the gyro aiming, and the cool stuff that 1-2 switch was doing that they didn't really go too crazy with. Nintendo Labo also. So it was just a way to show that, hey, this is a gaming device, but it also does these other cool application things that are cool for kids, that are cool for your fitness and whatnot, and really sold the Switch. So Switch 2 is gonna I think, have to do some stuff like that if it wants to be as big a success as the Switch was, or is, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You have any suggestions for the Switch 2? What do you think it should do to help make it a success? Do you think it's just fine resting on its laurels? Maybe porting. Backwards compatibility, I think, is big too. I don't think most people are worried about that. I think we're going to get that, but that's also a big thing. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and I'll see you folks next time. Peace out.
Yep.